Hello, my friends, and welcome to 5 for the Future for this week, the week of April 29th. Let's jump into the 5 topics that stood out to me recently as signals of change that could impact your small business. I'll summarize the story and share why you should care. Ready to get started? Here are our 5 topics for this week. Robots are everywhere, crazy weather, the non-compete debate, mental health issues on the rise, and weird foods and AI? Let's begin with our story number 1. Robots are everywhere. If you read the news like I do, then you'll likely agree news about new types of robots pops up every day. There are so many different kinds of robots, it's hard to keep up. But there seem to be 2 main types: 2-legged or humanoid and 4-legged robots. 2-legged robots in the news are able to perform diverse tasks like play soccer or deliver parts to an assembly line at a Mercedes-Benz plant. Some recent 4-legged robots in the news include Mal, a 4-legged robot good at parkour, and Roscoe, the robotic police dog that was shot and helped keep police safe. Also, Terminator, a flame-throwing robot dog. I am not making this up. Also in the animal category, a new robot that looks like a fish that collects data underwater without scaring any sea life, and a swarm of nanobots that follow the same herd mentality of fish or bees. And one 2-armed robot claims to give you a personalized massage better than a human can, while another is learning to feed humans by observing humans at the same task. In other robot news, restaurant company Chipotle's new chip-making robot Chippy didn't work out, too hard to clean. But they are excited about their new avocado-peeling robot, Autocado. And, according to Elon Musk, Tesla is a year away from launching their humanoid robot called Optimus. And now I feel like I'm living in a bad science fiction movie. So, what does this all mean for you and your small business? Some of these robots are designed merely for testing out capabilities. But bear in mind, a world full of robots is in our future. Most especially humanoid robots designed to take on risky or demanding tasks. Will your small business be able to hire these robots or match the production level of the other businesses who do? And it's not just physically demanding tasks. The next era of robots will have AI to help them learn tasks rapidly and modify as needed. So what might the future look like? Think about the work you do and that your team does. Which tasks could be taken over by robots? And which tasks could be delegated to AI bots? Where is your competitive advantage in this world? How do you stand out from your competitors when robots and AI are taking on much of the work? What will really matter in this new future? The same thing that matters now: personal connections, innovation, and openness to change. All right, moving on to story number 2, crazy weather. We started the year off with atmospheric rivers in California, record-setting rain flooding whole communities. Then the National Academy of Sciences said that it may need to add a whole new category, Category 6, to the hurricane rating system. And a bunch of our coral reefs have turned white in the 4th global bleaching event in the last 3 decades. Now we close out April with news from Dubai, where they got more rain in 12 hours than they usually get in 1 year, flooding homes, roads, and the Dubai airport. Heavy rain and massive flooding also impacted Guangdong, China, forcing over 100,000 people to evacuate. Flash floods and heavy rains also caused over 150 deaths in Tanzania and over 70 deaths in Kenya just this week, with El Nino partly to blame, according to weather experts. So what's causing all this crazy weather? Some of it is just the normal variety of weather patterns we see over time. And expert meteorologists also say that global warming is highly likely to be influencing these heavy rainfalls as warm air tends to hold more moisture. So what does this mean for you and your small business? Even if you aren't experiencing extreme weather in your area, it can certainly have an impact on global supply chains. And expect to see an increase in your property insurance if you haven't already. In the short term, you may not see much impact if the weather isn't directly affecting you or your customers or vendors. So what might this look like in the future? The long term. Imagine a future where whole swaths of land are nearly inhabitable due to extreme heat, flooding, or even sinking land. Already there are studies showing that land is sinking not just from oceans rising, but also from human action in the cities, mainly through groundwater withdrawal combined with geology and the weight of buildings. Nearly half of China's major cities are shrinking or sinking because of water extraction, And the same effect is occurring in other urban areas, including Houston and parts of the East Coast. Without some change taking place, our future might be up north, meaning folks migrating to the Great Lakes regions where water is abundant and the risk of hurricanes, wildfires, mudslides, and sea level rises is practically non-existent. The weather is becoming less cold in the winter and quite comfortable most of the year. Even trees are being moved up north as planting zones get altered due to the warming of this typically colder region. Are you at risk of weather disaster with your current physical location? Will your customer base be migrating north? Start paying attention now so you can adapt as needed. And pat on the back for me for living in the ideal location here in beautiful Wisconsin. And with that, let's move on to story number 3, the non-compete debate. The Federal Trade Commission just recently banned employers from using non-compete contracts to prevent most workers from joining rival firms, a change that is popular with employees, but not so much from the big business employers. Not only is this a monumental change made with a government mandate, but it also has generated a series of lawsuits from organizations such as the U.S. Chamber of Commerce and the Business Roundtable, an organization of CEOs of the largest U.S. employers. The FTC claims that these non-compete clauses make it difficult for workers to take a new job or start a business in their field, which lowers competition and can lead to lower pay and benefits. These non-competes don't affect just high-paying professionals like software developers and doctors. They've also been used to keep security guards, hairstylists, and even fast food workers from jumping ship, according to the Wall Street Journal. Workers in general are pleased with this ruling and the flexibility it gives them in the job market. Assuming the change survives all the lawsuits, it could lead to more new business startups, as well as pay raises and retention bonuses as employers switch from the stick to the carrot. So what does this mean for you and your small business? Bear in mind that a non-compete keeps employees from leaving to work for a competitor, tying their hands as they seek to advance. But you don't need a non-compete to protect your trade secrets. Documents like a non-disclosure or a non-solicitation agreement can protect confidential information, as well as other measures already in place in the states that already have a non-compete ban already in place. I see this FTC change as a huge opportunity for small business to be able to attract talent from larger companies who were unable to leave before. You aren't looking for company secrets, you're looking for experienced employees to help grow your own business, and this change should make it easier. So what might the future look like? Imagine a future where big employers would actually have to treat their employees well and pay them what they're worth to retain them, rather than threatening them with a non-compete clause. Is there a risk of salaries going up? For big business, yes. For small business, maybe. But it's more than just salary these workers are seeking. They may take less money to work for a smaller business that gives them broader opportunities to learn and contribute and more flexibility in how they work, along with a much flatter organization. I see this change as a win for small business. All right, moving on to story number 4, mental health issues on the rise. More and more stories are coming out every day sharing that, as the Wall Street Journal puts it, America's mental health is worsening. As a result, mental health urgent care sites are popping up to address the increasing number of adults and children in need of help, hopefully shifting the care away from the emergency room and other urgent care centers. This is a positive step, but there's still a serious lack of mental health professionals to address longer-term care and follow-up from these urgent care centers. While there are plenty of opinions on the cause of this increase in demand for mental health services, one thing is clear: we can't ignore it. Mental illness costs the U.S. economy $282 billion annually, according to a recent Yale University study. About 1 in 5 adults live with mental illness in the U.S., so we clearly need to expand the availability of mental health services. What does this mean for you and your small business? With so many people struggling, it's very likely that you have employees, customers, or suppliers who struggle with mental illness or whose family members struggle. How can you help? Making sure you offer some sort of insurance for mental health issues and some flexibility in work hours or days off is a great start. Some employers are working to help their employees better connect so that social isolation doesn't make things worse, with social events and funds to encourage outings and more. As a matter of fact, research shows that one key way to address many mental health issues is to promote a sense of community and togetherness, rather than the sense of isolation and loneliness many employees feel, especially those who work remotely or who are juggling kids or aging parents on top of work. So what might the future look like? In my ideal future, we have figured out the importance of social networks and found new ways to connect people. It's not a coincidence that I have moved my own work from market research to peer group facilitator. I see the magic that happens in a room full of business owners when they realize their peers get them and really understand where they're coming from. We can all lift each other up with more one-on-one interaction and less cell phone and social media activity. And that's not just the peer group facilitator saying that, but the market research data shares the same conclusion. And now our final story, story number 5, weird foods and AI. For some reason, I am fascinated by the crazy pairings I see in the world of packaged foods. I try to picture someone pitching the idea to their boss, and the boss saying like, yes, let's make Sour Patch flavored Oreos. Or pink barbecue sauce, a mix of vegan mayonnaise and barbecue sauce colored with beetroot extract to be pink to celebrate the 65th anniversary of Barbie. And in another unusual pairing, Pringles has teamed up with Crocs to offer an ankle holster to hold your Pringles potato chips on the side of your Crocs boot so you can eat on the go. The boots come with a mini can of new Pringles flavor called Croctail Party, which apparently have a watermelon, chili, lime seasoning. Here's the crazy part. They're all sold out. Clearly, much of this is done for the publicity, and the crazier the idea, the more attention it gets. Those Pringle boots were worn by influencers Ashley Simpson and her husband at Coachella. These folks know how to stand out in a market. Just like McDonald's, their latest billboards, they have figured out how to make them smell like French fries. Only available in the Netherlands so far. So who thinks these things up? In the future, it could be AI, as brands like Coca-Cola, Pepsi, and Red Bull are turning to AI to help reimagine marketing and manufacturing and increase customer engagement. And CPG giant Unilever is looking to AI to make the product development process more efficient. This includes accelerating the creation of new products and predicting how long they will be popular. So what does this mean for you and your small business? Well, I've said this before, it pays to be creative and find ways to stand out in the marketplace. Learn from these crazy examples and consider partnerships or collaborations that make sense in your market and help you stand out a bit. How can you generate some publicity or get in front of new customers? Who else shares your customer base? It's time to get creative. What might the future look like? If you're not feeling creative, perhaps it's time to turn to AI for help. Nearly half of small businesses are using AI to improve their small business, and the majority of those find it extremely helpful. Are you among the small businesses using AI? If not, it's time to start embracing AI and using it to help you get creative with your marketing, outreach, and more. The future is now, people. All right, that's it for this week. Thanks for watching. I hope these 5 topics and my take on them get you thinking about how these signals of change could ultimately impact your small business. Join me again in 2 weeks. Thanks.